excited to share with you what we have today. Pharma's digital dilemma, the speed, scale, and the balance between control and creativity. We have a challenge across the business. How do we move faster, deliver at scale, and still maintain a fantastic customer experience? And these pressures come together, particularly in digital, as we have so many stakeholders involved in the creation of digital experiences. Well, I'm really pleased to be talking with you today about this. And how do we move forward? Roeland.
Yeah, so how do we move forward? We have heard a lot about AI. And is it about AI? Is it about data? Is it about insights? Is it about content, storytelling, emotion? We have heard it all this morning, my colleague Graham, with his beautiful talk. But where does that all come together? And what is still a foundational digital platform in this wonderful world we have? Is it all about Opti, hyper-channel? Yes, it is all about these things. But web is still so important. And being 20 years at AstraZeneca, I have seen similar projects miserably fail, I think 4 times. So what are we doing differently, and how do we get there, and where are we now with web engagement? Because that's what we're talking about today, and that was also something I needed to convince the lion tamers about. I'm a bonobo monkey, or ape, sorry. So how did we get there, and how are we moving this forward?
But before we get into AstraZeneca, let's consider the broader scope. We are now 25 years into digital, transformation, really, and where are we? Well, we've got to acknowledge that digital experiences in pharma have become very complicated, difficult to manage. We have the dream of this beautiful omni-channel journey, but actually realizing that is very difficult. From a customer perspective, the HCPs and patients trying to engage with us, content access is often very difficult, and we put so much love into that content. We really want them to engage, but that access is not straightforward. Those journeys are frustrating, and the overall outcome is a poor digital experience. And from a business perspective, it's widely recognized, these challenges. These launches of websites are slow and expensive, with cumbersome systems and workflows. One of our clients said they had to work with 20 different systems to launch a website, and it's just absolutely crazy. And the result is that brand budgets are spent on the technology, not the content, not the value add that it wants to be. Across the industry, we know that 57% of HCPs have difficulty finding the information they want at least once per week. Within our organizations, we know that 80% of teams say, we're so distracted building the websites, but we don't follow through. Launch is just the beginning. Launch is not the end of that program. And we've got to create value-add services that are incrementally improved with the product mindset. We know in one of our reports last year that 50% of global teams are neutral or negative about the investments they're making in their digital ecosystem, which is not a great place to be. And at a local level, 70% of people have reported great frustrations with the tools that they have to use. And we know that if you're frustrated with those tools, they're not going to work for you. And ultimately, you're not going to create that fantastic client impact and that omni-channel journey that we really want to make absolutely brilliant. Oh,
should I drive it? So what is then the current state? So last year, at the start of last year, we finished an audit across our entire digital landscape, and especially about web. And we found that we had 1,600 websites globally, of which 90% are kind of single-use websites. Mostly therapeutic area websites, brand websites, very low traffic, no real measurement, no integration, etc. So that says something. Then we also, and this is a gross underestimation of our spend, because this is the direct spend on websites and not the spend that is packed into the agency contract, etc. But each website comes at a cost, and kind of significant cost. Then a very complex customer experience. Only 10% of all those websites had known visitors. And I think that's an overestimation of the logins and the customers we know actually visiting our platforms. So that kind of gives a real burning platform to change the way we operate. But we also found that burning platform because markets were moving towards HCP portals. We saw in Germany a great example where they consolidated all these separate websites into an HCP portal, also trying to get medical on board into their portal. And that is the change we really are making with 1AZ. We are not doing a global solution, make it all perfect, and then pump it into the markets. No, that is not how we are organized. Regions and markets have great power, have the budgets. The global brand teams have budgets. We as global teams, support teams, don't really have the budget. So we needed to change the approach we took. So we are very heavily collaborating with everybody within the company to get this into reality. But before we do that, so Graham also showed this graphic. We are stealing from the same sources. Customer experience is 35% of, a third of the prescribing decisions are driven by customer experience. It's the overall impression an HCP has of our company, AstraZeneca, and it covers all the touch points, from digital to reps, etc., etc. But how then do you create a best-in-class web experience based on this? It's all about simplifying the experience. It is also that we need to diversify how we bring our visitors to the website. So you can't rely on VAEs and MCRMs, etc. alone. You need to diversify. Very importantly, providing a reason to return. Return visits have much more high-value actions on your website. Known visitors have that, so kind of provide a reason to return. Also identifying your visitors, as I said before, and then create, and that has been underestimated in pharma when I started doing web projects like 10, 15 years ago, SEO. SEO was not important for us because we couldn't. We must start with SEO, and there are some great companies, including our vendor Performance.io, who are experts in this, and I would strongly recommend, if you are not already doing so, to kind of talk to them, because SEO is crucial for your web success. So how then do we transform web? It's all about data and insights, improving how we collect and store first-party data. It's about personalization. We have talked about that, and we're talking about it, and I will talk about it more. It's about the experience, fully integrated into the customer engagement ecosystem, and then also about efficiency. Deliver websites efficiently, reducing waste in our web operating model, and this is, of course, it is about value in the end. It's not about pure cost. We need to prove the value, the return on investment, etc. But if I can show one of our key markets that their pure cost base goes down with half or 2/3, then of course they're on board. So importantly, all to reach that 2030 ambition of ours and make a huge difference to patient health, but also deliver the 80 billion in revenue and launch 20 new medicines and numerous dozens and dozens and dozens of new indications. All those single brand, single thing websites don't hit the mark for that, and we need to be more efficient. So how is that then embedded all in our customer engagement program? We call our omni-channel program, and we don't want to use the word anymore. It's next-gen customer engagement. So it's all about customer, it's content, and it's channel. It's about being data-driven. It's about kind of breaking the silos between commercial and medical content and making it efficient, AI-driven if you want, but also about, of course, an optimal customer-centric experience. And this is kind of a very busy slide, and it is not as easy. So this is a beautiful slide, so it's all Salesforce-powered, AZ Brain-powered. Florent will be happy that we have our in-house AI powerhouse with AZ Brain. We are connected, interconnected, a measurement framework overlays this all. But this also showcases a bit of a challenge, because we are kind of overflowing our markets with migrations, transformations, 1AZ, Salesforce migration, AI, etc. And there's often one digital lead per market. So in the coming, so we have a few conferences, internal conferences coming up, where we will be addressing this, because that is currently a real pain point for the markets, is to kind of implement all these things almost at the same time. But we are addressing it, not easy. So what is then included in that 1AZ product? As said, we are focusing now on HCP portals so moving away from all these single brand websites and convincing our global brand teams to be part of this, and we have done so. My responsibility is the 1AZ web strategy. Strategic direction, governance, and iterative product development to maximize customer and business value. And some of the elements which are interesting for me, and I think crucial for the project, are that we are indeed integrating with medical, adding a medical section to the 1AZ portals, or have a really good alignment and kind of hand-off to the medical websites, and also thinking through content, because we know that if you are live with 6 months before launch with kind of disease awareness information, etc., when you launch, you have way more SEO authority on your website. So that is one of the strategic things we're thinking through. Also, global to local content. So how do we align the global brand teams to make sure that they deliver content in a really good fashion for the portals? And another one is webinar and events integration into the portals. All things that are strategically important that we're working on. A design system, and I will not say anything about it because I have my expert with me. Then we have platform and features. So we need to create that technical infrastructure which encompass software components to support the product. And then operational excellence, as said before. I think one of the highlights that is already recognized is that we work as an innovation team very closely with IT, with the kind of GBS, Global Business Services, that do the content, assembly, etc., but also with the markets, with the regions, with the global brand teams, with our measurement, with excellence, etc. So cross-functionality is super important for the program. And then we support smart personalization, and we must support smart personalization. I was lucky enough to think about taking off the brands that were mentioned here, because compliance would have definitely killed me, and I don't want to be that person. But because within 1AZ, content can be personalized to the individual and to the prioritization framework we use internally. All with the goal to remove kind of that very complex kind of information gathering journey and a decision-making journey from the HCP, and allow us to control the messaging across 20+ indications. We're now talking about oncology. And with all that content in one location, it's just way easier to tailor the experience based on the indication prioritization and past interaction of our customers. And finally, a single platform ensures a consistent and seamless user experience for our HCPs. But back to my expert, Rob, we are talking about the design system, and it's actually a crucial element. I was personally, a design system 2 years ago, was I really aware of the importance of these things? No. But now it is it's one of our really core pillars to make this work for both global, for the markets, etc. But Rob, over to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, design systems, we had it mentioned literally in the session before, and it brought us to life a little bit, but just to explain a little bit more. You've heard of modular content. Well, this is more like modular experience. So defining the user experience and user interface elements for all of your digital interactions in one go. So pharma particularly needs this mindset, this approach, okay? It's quite common for a pharma brand to have, maybe it's got 35 pharma products, and they each want their own website, and they get 35 agencies to do it. They've got 35 versions of the button. We're getting very tactical here, but, coding 35 versions of a button is not a good use of anyone's time. And actually, what we want to do with the design system is build it in such a way that there is some element of flexibility in it, but ultimately the underlying code is all consistent and the same. And the result of that is that you can empower brands with that flexibility to tailor the impression, the experience. But ultimately, it might look slightly different, but it feels the same. And that's really important for sort of harmonizing our customer experiences across digital channels. So it works very well on web, and we do a lot in web with design systems, also touching on emails, and that was a great example a minute ago. You're defining it once and sort of pushing it out everywhere gives you this continuity and this excellence of your digital experience. And once you've seen it, you recognize how far we have been, the mess that we've been with before. By bringing it together, it's very, very effective. And some of those outcomes as well. So, by reducing that duplication, actually reduction on effort and cost by 75 to 90%. One of our clients, we've delivered 90% on. Accessibility, so important. Actually, next month, it's law that our organizations present digital experiences that are AA accessible. And this is one way in which we can help bring that governance to all of that and ensure that those experiences are in line. And finally, the brand flexibility. The brands want to show off their product and their messaging and their media, and we want to enable them to do that, because unless we give them that capability, they will just not engage. And we want them to engage and actually really make the most of the digital channels and the experiences, and particularly in giving them the tools to do that. And yeah, part of this is transformation, and it's a really important thing. We want the business to accept this, and to do that, they have to be given something that is better than they had before at lower cost, and that is the whole program that Roeland is taking care of. This kind of transformation doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design, and being really intentional about it. So with socialization, with engaging multiple teams, particularly regulatory, documentation, we want to bring people into this program and show them what it can do. And that's what we're doing.
So yeah, to wrap up, One AZ isn't just a kind of a set of templates, etc. It's really kind of I don't want to use the word transform again, but we try to kind of a shift in how we deliver customer engagement across the business.
It's considerable commercial impact and value. We want to be enabling faster launches, global consistency, improved ROI, and we've seen that in our work streams before, reducing timelines of launch from 3 months to 3 weeks. This is transformational stuff when you get it all right.
Yeah, and most importantly, of course, it needs to improve the experience for our customers. We're not just we are creating user journeys that are more intuitive, easier to navigate, etc. And that is what it's all about. So how can we really support our customers in making their decisions, in educating them, in helping them, etc., and also drive the value for our own business. So I think we have some time, 2 minutes, for some questions. So happy to take questions if there are
any. Any questions, just put up your hand. We'll come out quickly with a microphone. Any questions at all? This gentleman here, quick question.
Thanks for the presentation. One of the things that you said was around personalization. So when a healthcare professional comes onto the website, how are you actually able to do that in terms of identifying them and then giving them that personal experience?
Login is, we are really trying to drive logins to our websites. And also kind of they can now, or in the very near future on the UK website, also indicate what they're interested in. And then if they accept cookies. So it's all about also communication with your audiences, but logins are super important. What we luckily saw in the last month is that we had a 60% increase in logins to our One AZ platforms across Europe, with 60,000 high-value actions, which I was quite pleased with.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Really nice to see a headless content management system coming into place and removing sort of some of the obstacles. I think the biggest obstacle you haven't talked about, and that's buy-in of your local marketeers. Because if you're setting up a system like that, and I tried this a couple of years ago with Merck, you run into the local acceptance issue, right? Yeah. The creative freedom is gone, the local agency usage is gone, you're saving a lot, you've shown that, money-wise, but your creative team is frustrated. How did you deal with that and making sure?
We are dealing with that. It's a really good remark. I think, to be honest, we underestimated slightly. And I'm a corporate affairs professional. I've worked in corporate affairs all my life until I joined the dark side 5 years ago. Communication is key. So what we have done is have a pack, a roadshow, etc. That is available for markets to educate their marketeers and their brand teams, etc. But it's a super valid remark. We have underestimated it. But the good thing is we have the lion tamers on board. And so the area vice president stood up last year and said, my markets will all have this. And you just go, I don't go. But yes, very important.